tuning in. Listen, we're in a word. It's about faith. And I want you to do me a favor. If you're on social media, go ahead, smash the like button. Take a second right now. Hit the like button. Go ahead, comment. Share it on your timeline and tag someone. If you're on YouTube, listen, good news. We've got our YouTube channel back. Come on, we've got our YouTube channel back. And so what I need you to do is to go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the like, smash the like button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Take a moment now. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. All right. And go ahead and comment. All right. So we're in this word, and it's a faith explosion. Remember, we're carrying over from Sunday into Tuesday, into Sunday into Tuesday. And so this will go into Sunday, and we're dealing with Abram, okay? We're dealing with Abram, and we're in James right now. And it says, consider it all joy, my brothers, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Now, this is faith for the unseen. Whenever you're dealing in the unseen, you have to have a certain level of perseverance, because what is unseen will become seen eventually, right? And so what does that mean? It sustains through trials. Faith for the unseen sustains through trials. And so faith is crucial during trials where the tangible aspects of life don't align with God's promises. So you can't see it. What you're seeing doesn't align. What you're seeing doesn't measure up. What you're seeing doesn't equal up. It doesn't make sense. It's like, man, if this is my promise, then why am I going through this problem? If this is my triumph, then why am I going through this tragedy, right? What's the deal with me having to go through this to get to that? Well, I'm going to tell you what. It provides the strength to persevere, trusting that God's purposes will prevail. I know God's purpose will prevail. I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, God's purpose will prevail, all right? And so we're not worried about anything. All we're worried about is sustaining ourselves through trials. How do you do that? You got to have faith for the unseen. You have to have faith for the unseen. What does that mean? It's not about what I see. It's not about what I feel. It's not about what's going on around me. It's about focusing on what God is going to do, because it sustains through trials. You must make it through the trials, okay? You have to make it through the trials. There's no way you can give up. You can't throw in the towel. You can't get so frustrated that you don't realize, man, that you got to count it all joy. What does that mean? You've got to enjoy various trials. What do you mean? It can't just be one trial. It's a trail. Jesus have mercy. Anyway, so at the end of the day, trust me when I tell you, Lord have mercy. Faith for the unseen says, we're going to consider it all joy, my brothers. It fuels hope. Circumstances anchored on the future fulfillment of God's word, trusting that God's purposes will prevail. I'm going to get past there, all right? Here we go. James 1:4, let endurance have its perfect results so that you may be perfect. What are we trying to be perfect for? So we can be complete, lacking in nothing. All right? And so there's transformative power. Transformative power. That means power to transform. Power to transform. All right? Beyond mere belief, faith transforms how we live and perceive our lives and the world, instilling a deeper sense of purpose and commitment to God's kingdom. You are going to need faith. Not faith that God can do it when I get there. Faith that God's going to do it over there. Faith God's going to do it when I get myself together. No, faith is God's going to do it where I am, with who I am, with how I am. God is going to do it, and he'll transform you. It's transformative power. What do I mean by that? James, what do you mean? You have to let endurance have its perfect result. So we're looking for an expected end. We're looking for a result. We're looking for an outcome so that you may be. What do you mean I may be? Listen, if you haven't gone through anything, your faith hasn't been tested. Your faith isn't strong enough yet. Your faith has to be tried. This is all about the trial of faith. You are going to need something to come up against you, a formidable opponent, to let you know that your faith has been tested and that God can be trusted and that you know whom you've believed. You must have faith. Faith is the thing that separates the best from the rest. Faith is the thing that separates the real from those who just rest on their laurels. Faith is the thing that makes you realize, man, I can make it from I can't take it. Faith is the thing that takes you from falling out to fulfilling and being fruitful. Why? Because faith is the thing that gets you to the result. Faith gives you the endurance to get your results. Faith holds the bridge up so you can get to your other side. Somebody say, I'm getting to the other side, to the other side, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. We're lacking in absolutely nothing, all right? And so the narrative focus will be exploring Abraham's journey of faith through two critical moments in his life. Let's go here. Faith for the unfamiliar. This is a big deal. Faith for the unfamiliar. Genesis 12, 1 through 4, the Lord had said to Abram, go forth. All right, that's a word. Go forth. Go from your country, your people, your father's household to a land I'll show you. We went through this the other week. I will make you into a great nation and I will bless you. I will make your name great and you will be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you. So Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. You see there? Abram went as the Lord told him. He never told him to take Lot with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left out from Haran. All right, let's go here. He says here, and this is faith for the unseen, Genesis 12:1, I'll make you into a great nation. I'll bless you. I'll make your name great. We saw all of that. It generates obedience. And so faith generates obedience. As a matter of fact, obedience is the language of faith. You have to go to Romans chapter 1, verse 5 to see that obedience is the language of faith, because it says the obedience that comes from faith in Romans 1 and 5, okay? And so faith in the unfamiliar calls us to immediate and decisive action, just as Abram's willingness to leave everything he knew and follow God's command demonstrates. There is something about faith that brings immediate obedience, not just obedience. It's one thing to be obedient. It's another thing to be immediately obedient. And so when I got the call to move to Atlanta, I never forget it. Me and First, we prayed, we fasted, we got that confirmation from the Lord. I spoke to a young man down here who was in ministry, and I asked him, hey man, I believe the Lord's, leading me to come down there, me and the family, He said, whatever the Lord has called you to do, he said, do it expeditiously. Obey the Lord immediately. And so when God says he'll do it, all of this he'll do it is based off of what you'll do. Are you willing to obey him? Because if you're willing to take one step, he says, I will take one step, I will take another step, and I will make another step, and I will make another step, and then I will make another step, I will make another step. And God says, if you make one strong step towards me, I'll make several steps in your direction, and I'll make it all right. If you are willing to make the one move, I will make all the other moves. As a matter of fact, I've already made them. I'm just waiting for you to do yours out of obedience. This is what God's saying. And so we're generating obedience because we understand that we can't be indecisive. We can't be double-minded. We can't be stuck. We can't be making excuses for being, oh yeah, I don't believe God can do it because I did this. I don't believe God can do it because I feel that. I don't believe God is able because me. No, you can't hinder God. You need to believe God. And that's what you need to do. Just believe God, trust God, give him your very best. All you can do is serve him where you are. And look, he called him out of his father's house. He could have said, well, I don't think you can do it apart from my father's household. I think everything I've got is tied to my father's household. He says, no, you got to get up out of there. First of all, he says, look, you got to go from your country and your people and your father's household. So if my thing is so closely associated with where I come from, then God, your word is of none effect, because you didn't call me to just be there so you could do it there. You could do it wherever I am. You're God all by yourself. So if I obey you and I step out, it's going to be unfamiliar. But I have to know the will of God for myself. I must know the will of God. And I must know that no matter what happens, God is in control. God is in control. I came to tell you today that God is in control. Tonight, that God is in control of your life, that no matter where you are, sometimes we feel like we need a certain thing in order to do a certain thing, or we need it to line up a certain way, or it's not going to work. I'm here to tell you, God will work it the way he's going to work it, with who he's going to work it with, and he doesn't need our permission. All he needs is our obedience. Give him glory. Give him honor. I promise you, when God gives a word like this, it's a powerful word. Be obedient. Don't be double-minded. Stop second-guessing God. We're like a moving target. We're so, I can't build because you're unstable. You think, you're all over the place. And so when God says this, faith for the unfamiliar works like this. He says that it promises blessings. Stepping into the unknown with faith opens us to God's promises of blessings, prosperity, both personally and for others through us, just as Abram was promised to be a great nation. Listen to me. God is promising that not only will he bless him, he's going to bless those who bless him, and in him, all the nations of the earth are going to be blessed. He's going to make him a great nation, but he's also going to bless all the nations through him. What do you mean? One act of obedience blesses the nations. One act of faith blessed us. One act, that's all. You're one act away from blessing generations. You're one act away from God causing you to be overwhelmingly blessed. You're one movement, one act of obedience. Oh, wait, this is the reason why you can't afford to argue yourself down, or talk yourself down, or talk yourself out, or fight yourself out of spaces, or disobey yourself out of situations, or just inconsistent yourself out of stuff, because God's doing some things. You can't afford to late your way through life. You got to learn to love your way into situations. You got to serve your way through situations. You got to faith your way all the way over, because God's doing a work. You've got enough faith. You've got the faith to persevere. You've got the faith to make it. You've got the faith to give God the glory. I promise you, if you make up your mind just to give God the glory, cancel the noise. Don't worry about the distractions. Forget about the pain. Focus on the Lord. Trust in him. Give him your undivided attention. Give him your faith. If you give him your faith, I promise you, he promises blessings. What do you mean? He says, man, I'll make you. I'm going to do it. I'll make you. This is causative in the Hebrew. I'll make you your name great. I'll bless you. He said, and you'll be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you. Look, I'll curse them. You don't worry about them. Don't focus on them. Let me handle them. Don't focus on your blessings. Focus on me. I am your blessing. God's got you. God's got you. You better put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. God's got me. God is my blessing. Abram went. Big boom, boom, boom. Abram did what? What did he do? So Abram went as the Lord had told him. As the Lord, and even in his obedience. Now watch. Even in his obedience, he still had some disobedience. This is the one thing we don't talk about with Abraham. Abraham was obedient, but at the same time, Lot went with him. Oh, this is loaded. We'll talk about this in a little while. We're going to talk about this on Sunday. Lot went with him. What's the big deal there? The big deal there is, man, then their herdsmen didn't get along. Man, and then Lot pitches his tent towards Sodom, and then he ends up messed up over there in a place of sodomy and same-sex relations. It's unbelievable how who you bring with you affects your journey. There are people you're trying to bring with you that don't belong in that space. I'm going to say that one more time. And Lot, so Abram went as the Lord told him. And then Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. Abram said, look, man, I'm an old man, but I'm an old obedient man. I'm a man who understands the will of God. And if he would have done it a little bit differently, he would have left Lot where Lot was. But what if I told you Lot's an important part of the story? Lot is even a necessary part of the story. We'll get to that later. But sometimes you need a lot in your life. There are some people who are like Abram, they teach you the right thing to do. And there are other people like Lot who you learn a lot from doing the wrong thing. You learn a lot of what not to do from a guy named Lot. You learn so much about there are some of us who had parents who weren't great parents in the traditional sense. They weren't politically correct. They didn't do it the way you'd have wanted to see it done, but you get to learn from what they did wrong. You get to learn from what they didn't do right. They say even a broken clock is right twice a day. And I believe that to be true. Listen to me. You know, that's like the old adage of the hand going around, or even if it's a digital clock, it's 12 o'clock, 12 a.m., 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. You know what I'm saying. All right? And so here it is. Let me give you the point, and we're going to get out of here, all right? Here's the point. It cultivates trust. This is a big component, or a big component of faith, trust, because trust in God's guidance is deepened when we embrace the unfamiliar. Oh my gosh, leading us to rely more on his wisdom and direction, as Abram did by following God's instructions without knowing the destination. He didn't know where he was going. He had Lot with him. Lot got into a lot. Abram got into a lot as well. We'll get into that. But God still blessed him. We're only in Genesis chapter 12. Wait till we get into Genesis 13. Abram, soft music please. Abram is a blessed man in every sense of the word, from his relationship with God, to his relationship with his loved ones, to his relationship with his material, to his legacy. Lot is a Abram is a blessed man. Abram is so blessed that he becomes the father of all who believe. What an amazing story. We're on the beginning of it. We're right in the beginning of it. And I'm telling you, man, we got to cultivate that trust. Let me give it to you one more time. Trust in God's guidance means we have to embrace the unfamiliar. We're being led into places where we do not understand, we can't comprehend, we can't see it. We'll never, ever truly be able to perceive what God's doing, but we can trust and believe that he's got our best interest at heart, that God has got us covered. I want to tell you today that God has you so blessed that you would have never made it this far if it weren't for his goodness. If it weren't for God's great, not only intentions, but his plans. God's plans prevail. See, people worry about their intentions. People worry about their efforts. God, his word never returns void. He does just what he says. And I'm here to tell you that everything God is going to do, he's already done. We must learn to walk by faith. Stop second guessing God. Stop wondering if God can still do it. I'm here to tell you it's already done. It's already done. God will bring it right into your hand. You don't have to go chasing it. You don't have to fix it up. You don't have to manufacture it. It's already done. Settle down. Get rooted and established in love. Walk by faith. Move in the Spirit. Live and move and have your being in him. Allow him to be God all by himself. And I promise you, no good thing will he withhold to them that walk uprightly. You're one of God's elect. He's made all grace abound, that having all sufficiency you might be amply supplied for every good work. You've got everything you need. I promise you, God is doing it because he's already done it. Now he's doing it through you. He's already done it for you. Now he wants to do it through you. All you've got to do is walk this thing out. Isaiah, it was the prophet Isaiah that said, this is the way. Walk in it. He says, your word is near me. It's in my heart. It's in my mouth. The word. He says, this is the way. Walk in it. I want you to walk in the faith that God's called you to. I want you to walk in faith to see the invisible, to experience the impossible, to get into the incomprehensible. I promise you, God is doing something in your life that no man can understand. No man would relate to it. I sense it in my own life. There are things that God is doing where God has plucked you up and decided he's going to do something in your life that people would never, ever believe. And if you tell them, they won't understand it. So you got to keep your mouth shut, and you got to begin to continue to trust God, because God has a plan for your life. I promise you, God is not through with you yet. I promise you, your future is brighter than ever. And God doesn't necessarily need your help, but he needs your obedience. And your obedience is right where you are. God doesn't need you to go jumping out of a plane or going tipping camels or